everybody. For the past couple weeks and for the next few weeks to come, we have talked about expectation. God always comes through, and we know that, and we can know that. He will never break his promises, but for some reason, it's really easy for us to expect nothing out of him, to expect him not to move. It's a lot easier for us to set our expectations low so that we're not disappointed. It's so easy to let doubt sneak in. And I can tell you that from personal experience. There's many times where I've practically missed out on God's provision in my life because I'm just simply too scared to expect him to work. I've been let down before, what seems like I've been let down by the world sometimes, and it's easier just to lower my expectations. Sometimes things just don't go our way, and we get let down. And honestly, getting let down sucks, and nobody likes it. And so that's why our natural response is to just lower our expectations so that we don't have to experience that. I want to tell you today about a story in the Old Testament where Saul, the king, almost missed out on what God had for him and the army, the Israelite army, because he didn't expect him to work. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, we have a story that is, I would say, pretty familiar and pretty well known in the Bible, the story of David and Goliath. So David is a really young shepherd boy. He's a shepherd, he works, and he takes care of the flock at his house, and he has a whole bunch of brothers, a lot of brothers. And so on this day, all of his brothers go out and they're preparing to fight a war, a battle against the Philistine army. And David stays home to tend to and to take care of the flock of sheep. So David's at home doing his job, and Jesse, his father, comes up and says, "David, I want you to go and I want you to give food to all your brothers who are out on the battlefield." So David does exactly what he's told. He gets food and he takes it out to the battlefield to feed his brothers. But when he gets there, he sees that his brothers, along with the entire Israelite army, are hiding, and they're scared. They're hiding from Goliath on the other side, who's fighting for the Philistines, a literal giant. Goliath's yelling and he's screaming and he's cursing God, saying, "You can't kill me, your God cannot save you. I'll beat you." And they're all so scared, and they're not willing to do anything about it. And David gets there, and David trusts in God, and he has faith in God. And he says, "I'm going to fight Goliath." So David goes to King Saul and says, "I want to fight Goliath. I believe that God will help me win this battle." And Saul says, "No way. You have never done this before. You have no training, no experience. Goliath, the giant on the other side, has been doing this his entire life, and he has a lot of this under his belt already. He knows what he's doing. You're not doing that." But David sits down and tells Saul, "I trust in God, and God will provide, and he will take care of me, and I think I can win this battle." So Saul says, "Go for it." He tries to give him his armor, and David says, "Look, I'm not going to wear this armor. I trust God." So Saul says, "Go for it." And honestly, I'm not really convinced he thought David was going to do anything. He probably just thought, let's let him try. Long story short, David goes out and he kills the giant. And because of that victory, that leads into a string of events that causes the Israelites to win that whole battle. Because David trusted God. David knew how to expect. He set his expectations high. He believed in God. He had trust and faith in God. He knew that God would come through, and he lived out his life in expectation of God's work being displayed in his life. Now, Saul didn't expect much from God there. If it was up to Saul, David wouldn't have even fought. Saul almost missed out on what a lot of people consider one of the most prolific and recognizable stories in the Old Testament, David and Goliath, because he didn't have high expectations of God. And like I said at the beginning, sometimes it's a lot easier for us to just not expect. To not expect God to move and to work. He definitely doesn't always work the way we expect him to, or the way we think he will, or the way we think he should. But one thing's for sure, God is always working, and he always will be working. It says in Romans 8:28, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose." So let me ask you this. Do you have expectations for God? Do you live your life expectant of what God is going to do in and through your life? It's my hope that you do, because, and while I can't promise it'll be easy or fun or quick or predictable, I can promise that God is working for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. It is important. If we don't expect, we could miss out on what God has for us. Thank you guys so much for watching this week. If you have any questions at all or would like to speak to a pastor, please don't hesitate to reach out. Just give us a call or email us or contact us on social media. We would love to hear from you. We'll see you guys next week.